What's up, everybody? The hype for Verdansk just continues to grow. Today we got the patch notes for Season 3, and they talk about Verdansk stuff, which we already talked about, so I'll link the more detailed video about what's coming with Verdansk down below. We're just going to hit the stuff that wasn't really in that, maybe briefly hit the stuff that was, and of course I will be live on Twitch, like as soon as the update drops, or very shortly after, playing Verdansk. And so if you want to come hang out live, Twitch is linked down below, as well as my other social medias if you want to check those out, and my single player channel. But let's not keep stalling. Let's go ahead and start going through these patch notes. There was a Ricochet anti-cheat update. It wasn't too interesting, but I'll link that down below if you want to go check that out for yourself. As well as there was a Verdansk, there was like a Verdansk POI blog and something else. I don't know. I'll link all of the relevant stuff below, including if I made any videos about it. So hitting the important stuff, crossplay. So crossplay for consoles got updated in Season 2 for multiplayer ranked, where you could set it to only your console, crossplay but consoles only, or crossplay including PC. And that is now being brought to multiplayer ranked, Warzone ranked, which we won't have until Season 3 Reloaded, and multiplayer pubs. I think that we're going to see this being brought to Warzone pubs at some point as well, just while their anti-cheat is still bad. We'll see. Hey, maybe this Season 3 update will make it a lot better, but we'll see. And so just some notes on that. Players who have crossplay off, but like let's say you're on Xbox, you have crossplay off, you invite somebody who's on PlayStation, you will temporarily be set to crossplay console only. If one of your if you have crossplay off and you invite me, who's on PC, you will be back into full crossplay temporarily. But as soon as, let's say, you're on Xbox, that PlayStation user that you invited leaves your party, you're now back to crossplay on your console only. Or that PC player leaves, you're back to console only crossplay, or console crossplay on, or crossplay off, right? So it will still default to your settings when your party allows those settings. But so long as your party doesn't allow those settings, it will go to the most applicable setting. So that's a change. Another change for the UI, UX, and tech section. The shaders will change. The shader little warning will change now. So it's going to show the overall percentage, and it's going to show the percentage for each mode. Not too big of a deal. We're just hitting highlights. Verdansk is back, as we know. Like I said, you got the TAC Atlas, which I'll link down below. I'll link the information blog post, the like Intel blog post below, and my videos about it. Gulag's back in the showers. Capture the flag overtime. No more sender. Rebirth will temporarily be gone, but it will be added shortly after the launch of Season 3. It's gonna be just quads at first too, and then they'll add other squad sizes. Modes, they're adding a Battle Royale casual, which is like boot camp, except it's 148 total players, only 28 players, 120 bots. High Trip is in season. They don't have that under returning, but that was a mode before, an LTM before, and then they teased other LTMs coming eventually in their Season 3 Intel post. Battle Royale's back, but now it has 150 players, except quads has 152 because math. Plunders at launch. Warzone Boot Camp will be back at launch. It's the 20 players, 24 bots. Resurgence will be in the launch window with quads only, 44 total players. Here's your playlist for April 3rd through 10th. Battle Royale, solos, duos, trio, squads. I might make my return to solos, which I haven't played solos since Verdansk at some point. Resurgence in the launch window. Battle Royale, casual, plunder, and boot camp will also all be at launch. All of those are quads. Ranked play, it's offline until Season 3 Reloaded, and then it'll be on Verdansk so they can sort out stuff, make sure they eliminate big bugs and stuff in Verdansk. So classic stuff returning. 150 players is back, 152 in quads because of math. Free fall shooting, so now when you're skydiving, you can shoot your pistol again when you're coming back. It says players can shoot while free falling, skydiving using their secondary weapon. So if there's no secondary weapon, it'll default to the backup pistol. So like if you have an overkill class, or you've grabbed two classes and you have two primaries, it doesn't count. It has to be like a pistol. So put a Siren in your secondary. If you don't have a pistol, well, I guess, yeah, you would have a launcher otherwise, and I don't think anyone does. Actually, would you have a launcher? No. You might. I don't remember now. I think it's only pistols. But something tells me it's not. 360-degree revive rotation. When someone's laying on the ground and you go to revive them, now can look. Players can now rotate their view while reviving a squad mate instead of being fixed on their squad mate's down position, giving the perfect opportunity to call out if your squad mate is being pushed by an enemy as they revive you. End game circle pacing. You can pause and read it here if you like. I'm not going to go through all of it, but it's to match more like the old days. So now it'll be a 25-minute match total instead of 20 minutes. The map assets, many map models and textures found in Verdansk feature the classic aesthetics, but not limited to armor plates, armor satchels, buy stations, and contracts. So they're trying to make it look like old Warzone. Ascenders on Verdansk. Verdansk originally launched without vertical ascenders. I don't know why I said extenders. It's because I'm mixing external and ascenders. Ascenders on the outside. They're going to return in the mid-season, and then there will still be ascenders inside like elevator shafts and stuff like that. But Plunder is supposed to have all of the ascenders that they're going to add. So if you want to know where they are, hop into some Plunder. Gulag loadouts are changing or reworked, as they call it. So in Circle 1, you won't get any primaries. You'll have a Gulag with one of these secondaries and one of these lethal tactical combinations. I wish we'd get rid of the lethals and tacticals in Gulag, but maybe one day. Because they are trying to make it feel like old Verdansk, but I don't remember that in Verdansk. Circle 2, you'll either have the CS9, AS Val, or PP919, one of these secondaries. These are the loadouts. I mean, you can read them yourself, right? So Circle 1 will be pistols only. I think we should just only have pistols only, or occasionally have goofy stuff like sniper gulags, but maybe late game, give somebody like an AR, but you can see that I think Circle 1 and 2 are the exact same, except bigger mags or quick draw grip for the PP919. And then they just add attachments in Circle 4 and onwards. I wish it would just be pistols. Infill and backup pistol players will now infill and spawn with the 9mm PM instead of the GS45. Late game redeployments will now spawn players closer to the ground, reducing the need to hover while positioning during final circles. The system has not been turned on since BO6 launched. Player respawn angles. Players will now respawn looking approximately 30 degrees downward instead of directly at the horizon, providing a clear view of potential landing areas. I like that. It's going to take a few games to get used to, but I like that. This adjustment aligns with natural player behavior when scouting landing spots. Unsuppressed red dot distance has been reduced on resurgence to 112.5 meters, down from 250. Loot and economy. Floating loot's back, so loot floats on the ground like this instead of laying on the ground, so you can see it better. Adjustments. Ground loot refresh. Common epic weapons now sport a selection of random attachments that align with the weapon's natural strengths. Legendary weapons come with a variety of fixed builds tailored to specific roles that are randomly selected match over match. This change aims to maintain the excitement of random loot while preserving the reliability of weapon performance. High-value loot zones. This season, high-value loot zones will remain consistent every match, allowing players to reliably identify hospital, military base, and superstore as points of interest with enhanced ground loot and increased number of supply boxes. Further enhancements to this feature will be added in the future. So I had wondered if they were going to highlight it, like when you land in an Apex, it like circles the area and there's like light beaming up from it. That's the high-tier loot zone for that match. But Warzone's taking an approach where these three POIs are always high-tier loot zones and always will be, and so there will be no indicator. It's just something that you need to know, and knowledge is, of course, part of skill gap, which we like. Supply boxes, basic. These boxes provide consistent cash rewards and average to high-quality weapons, occasionally offering a premium equipment such as legendary weapons, kill streaks, and gas masks. Legendary supply boxes have received significant upgrades for a more rewarding experience. These boxes guarantee top-tier weapons and some of the best loot available with increased caches obtaining substantial cash. Right now, orange boxes, they suck. And so this is definitely a welcome change to make them better. Reusable boxes, the blue ones, will replenish every 90 seconds, serving as an ideal means for players to regain strength in the mid to late stages of a match, particularly after returning from the gulag or redeployment. They supply players with a viable weapon, an armor plate, and some cash to quickly return to combat readiness. So those boxes weren't originally in Verdansk, but we don't need 100% classic feel, and I am more than good with that. All right, continuing to move on, duffel bags, medical cabinets, and weapon lockers have all been removed, which is good. We want feeling like Verdansk, and it's just you just don't need that. Just make the boxes better. Second chance mechanics, gulag tokens, reinforcement flares, and redeploy tokens have all been removed, which I like. Even though I haven't seen like 4 flares this season, and no, I can't think of when last time I saw a redeploy token. Gulag tokens, of course, and then you can of course buy them. The only available methods to return after death are gulag victories, buy station buybacks, and jailbreak public events. So old Warzone. Not complaining. I don't mind gulag tokens because you still have to earn your way back, but I'm good with getting rid of flares and redeploys. Although there was modes that had redeploys. Maybe it's called Era. But in Warzone 1, there was redeploys at one point, and so I'd be okay with them being added back. But make them very, very rare. Self-revives can only be required from the following sources: legendary supply boxes, random drops, scavengers, contracts, random drops, buy station for 4,000, and fire sale for free. So they're no longer just, well, there's no medical cabinets, duffel bags, or weapon lockers, so they can't pop out of those. They won't pop out of regular or respawn supply boxes, reusable supply boxes. So they'll be a lot harder to find, which I'm fine with. It'll be interesting to see if they limit them in the buy, because old Warzone didn't. So it'll be interesting to see if they do or not. Death tax, 50% of the cash balance will drop to the ground. 50% will remain with the player, up from 20%. Previously, 50% of the cash balance dropped on the ground, with players keeping 20 and 30% being entirely removed from the economy. Which is insane. Why remove the money, you know? Loot angle interactions will now require more precise aiming to reduce accidental item pickups, resolving most unintended looting situations, such as inadvertently picking up items during reloads. Good change if it feels good. We'll see how it feels, but it's a good change if executed correctly. Rarity outlines now gradually fade into view only when players are within a logical proximity rather than remaining visible at all distances. Loot cards are now centered over items to improve readability, particularly when combined with floating loot. Loot cards remain at a fixed height rather than moving with the player's view. Loot cards are hidden when players sprint, dive, slide, or use lethals, tacticals, and field upgrades. That's good. That's all good stuff. Buy stations are back to the vertical menu. On the left, you'll have all of the stuff to buy. I don't know why Precision Airstrike is blurred out there. Odd. And then on the right, when you have teammates, there will be a squad buy, and there's also going to be a buy all button. And then also something coming. You can hit up when you're in this, and it'll go right down to the loadout drop marker. So if you played old Warzone, you were on controller, you had the habit of X up X. Or is it X up A? Yeah, X up A. So interact with the buy station, up to get right down to the loadout drop, A, throw the loadout. That was an old muscle memory that we all learned in Verdansk if you were on controller. And so that's back, which is nice. And then you can't buy individual weapons, which is fine, because we'll get to it in a second with pricing, but we'll talk about that. Redeploy button, as I mentioned, there's going to be a single shortcut for allowing players to redeploy all teammates at once. They'll still have individual flares and sound effects trigger for each teammate redeployed, like it would if you bought them individually, so that's fine. And when you have insufficient funds to buy back the entire squad, the redeploy all feature will prioritize teammates carrying the highest amount of cash. I was wondering how they were going to execute the mechanic of not having enough for everybody. That's how they're doing it. That is so good, and that is so smart. If it works day one, chef's kiss. Perfect. Item icons. Each entry in the vertical buy station now shows the icon of the respective items. Item count. Players can easily summon an item they already own. Category subheaders will show if it's kill streak, field upgrade, etc. It's good for new players. Are those... Oh shit, it went way up the page when I zoomed in, and now it went way down the page when I zoomed out. I want to see something in the buy station. I want to see if it's unlimited self-revives. Because, okay, I think those symbols are infinite above the money. So I think it's infinite. Let me see. Open image in new tab. This is so much easier. This. Oh, it downloaded it. Okay. Yeah, those are infinite symbols. So there will be infinite self-revives. Interesting. Because they obviously haven't been that way for a while. Oh, I think that's our normal. 150 might be our normal. Let's see. Buy stations, same exact 30 locations in every match. Here's the inventory pricing. So it's 4,000 for self-revive, which I think it is now. It might be 3,000 for self-revive. But loadouts, $10,000. So you'll have more money. Squad mate redeploys are 4,000. I think in Caldera was when they went to 3,000. But so you'll have more money anyways, because $10,000 for a loadout is all you need. And so self-revives $4,000. Armor box $4,000. Interesting. Munitions box $2,500. Interact angle. The buy station can now be accessed from any angle, including behind, which was a thing in Warzone 1. You'd hide behind the buy if it was like out in the open, and you knew like somebody was like sniping at you from one angle. You would hit the buy from behind, providing increased flexibility during tense engagements. So movement speeds have been adjusted. Crouch movement speed reduced by 10%. Crouch to stand speed increased by 15%. So crouch to stand speed 15%. You can teabag faster now. Crouch to stand speed while ADS increased by 39%. Prone movement speed reduced by 5%. Sprint movement speed reduced by 4.9%. Directional sprint animation blend speeds increased for improved fluidity. So they're trying to make the movement speeds closer to the original. And that's what they say in the box down below, is that they're trying to make it more original but still feel like BO6 movement. And so they're just slowing things down. And of course, as we play and give feedback, they'll tune it some more. All right, so continuing on down, jump cooldown reduced by 40% for improved responsiveness during repeated jumps. So bunny hopping. They're trying to slowly bring bunny hopping back. We'll see what the 40% feels like, but it's so good. Omni movement, sprint, side, and back speed scaling reduced by 8.5% to better balance strafe movement. Slide friction increased by 4%, so you'll slide 4% less. Reduce overly slippery engagements. Recon contracts back, replacing the Intel contract. And it now will show a circle on the ground that shows the radius. So you can see it in here in the picture, that where you can affect the contract, which is new and really super nice. Supply runs are back. If you don't know, you didn't play Warzone 1, you pick up supply contract, it'll highlight a buy, you go to that buy, you complete it, you can either get a squad mate back for free, a discounted item, or a self-revive for free. And so that's what this will do. That's what that does. Contract multipliers are returning now. Right now, there is no multiplier for doing more and more contracts in a game, and that was a feature that's in Warzone 1 that's coming back, and contracts are all now back to tablets. Adjustments, bounty contract, most wanted, recon, scavenger is what we'll have. They're disabling big game bounty, signal intelligence, and spy drones. I'm good with that. Contract spawn rates have been adjusted throughout Battle Royale to enhance distribution and improve overall gameplay balance. Payment updates, contract payouts have been updated to align more closely with values reminiscent of the Verdansk era, although not exactly matching them. Supply run and recon contract payments are now standardized to match the scavenger contract values in both BR and Resurgence. Completing a most wanted contract no longer results in a supply cash drop. Plunder-specific contract payouts have been adjusted for consistency across modes. Recon contract progress added upward arrows indicating how much faster a recon contract is being captured by your team depending on how many players are on the target location assisting with capture. So it'll just show you how fast you're capturing the contract, but the more players on the recon contract, the faster you capture, which once again is how it used to be, and it hasn't been that way with Intel contracts. Public events, we're keeping fire sale, jailbreak, loadout drop, and restock, getting rid of flyby, cash drop, contractor, rogue signal, runaway train, and recon flyover. I swear they had cash drop at some point early in the war, sometime in Warzone 1. Contractor is not needed with the contract multipliers. So thermite equipment, thermites are back. They're disabling, or no, only available during map. You can pause to read what's available on map loot and in loadouts. You can read that. They're not getting rid of any, I guess, which, okay, that's fine. Satchels, armor satchel is going to be available where you can hold 8 plates instead of 5. Munition satchel will be available during the by the bandolier wildcard, but it won't be in the map. I think that's what that means. Because we were told only armor satchels would be there, but they don't want to get rid of the bandolier wildcard, which I think is dumb. Just get rid of it. And munition satchel will be available to bandolier. So if you are grabbing 2 loadouts anyway, since they're not available in loot, it's not the worst idea to grab a 8 attachment gun on the first loadout. If you were doing that anyways, instead of an 8 attachment gun on the second loadout, like I do, get a bandolier class, and then you'll have the munition satchel, which is not lootable. Maximum armor plates reduced from 6 to 5 to match classic experience. Satchel now lets you hold 8, down from the previous, an additional 6 instead of 12 to match classic experience. Armor drops, limited players will consistently drop at least 1 armor plate. This does not apply to bots and in boot camp and battle royale. Well, that's how you'll know for sure someone's a bot. Gulag armor removed in unranked, so in pubs you won't have armor gulag. It's purely health again. Armor plate color improvement says the armor plate color has received an improvement where the color hue will be darker if the player doesn't have full plates. The color will remain the familiar bright color hue when the players are full. This will indicate to players when they have almost full plates, which they could have. Look, field upgrade. So they're showing now that it shows what field upgrade you have instead of just plates, gulag, self-revive, and UAV. But they could have shown the plate thing there. I guess that's the darker color, and that is them showing it, but a comparison's not. because I don't memorize the exact shade of blue. And you can read here what field upgrades there are and what's been disabled. But it's pretty much Warzone 1. Heartbeat sensor increased battery life from 60 to 120 seconds. Just for old Verdansk's sake, I kind of wish that it was available as a tactical again, and not just a field upgrade. But and before it had infinite battery, which I'm fine with them not going back to. But 2 minutes is a lot of battery life. Reclaimable field upgrade icon, an interactable icon. White dot appears on a reclaimable field upgrade to better highlight that they can be re-equipped like a trophy station. Kill streaks. We're just having advanced UAV by activating 3 UAVs in a row. Cluster strike precision, supply UAV only by the battle ready wildcard. But that's not worth using that wildcard on. And then the UAV, and then all the other ones are gone. They put napalm strike on there, but not a napalm strike in Warzone right now. I think that's only multiplayer. Thank God no sentry turrets. Precision airstrike indicator, return the classic feeling to Verdansk. The precision airstrike minimap notification that was added last year has been removed. I don't like it. We've removed the precision airstrike's approximate path indicator on the minimap in order to return to how it worked in 2020, where part of its purpose was to surprise your enemies. We will monitor feedback data and sentiment on this. I guess it's okay. But it was just nice to know what direction to run in. Crowded airspace notification. Airspace too crowded message will now appear when the player attempts to pick up or aim down sight ADS with a kill streak. Yep, this removes uncertainty about kill streak using upon lootability. Lootable perks have been removed, may return depending on feedback. Weapons we're getting the Kilo back, we're getting the AMAX back, we're getting the HDR back, and we are getting the Kali sticks back. But without a riot shield, will people really care about Kali sticks? I guess we'll find out. With a dedicated melee slot, I guess it's not as big of a deal to not have that riot shield, because you can have other guns to defend yourself, and then when you get close, get the Kali sticks out. The Grau is returning as a SWAT 5.56 conversion kit. I don't like this. I wish they would, and it has the Archangel iron sights on it. But I wish that they would just bring back the Grau at a later time. And you know, I had somebody ask me, well, why? Like, it's still gonna look like the Grau. It's supposed to feel like the Grau. I'm like, but that's one less attachment. And that's not a huge deal. But also, I would just like having like, oh my God, the Grau's back. The same way it's like, we're not getting the Kilo back as a conversion, or the HDR back as a conversion, or the AMAX as a conversion. And the Grau is right up there in classic Warzone weapons and deserves the respect. So it's a little bit of a principle thing. It's a little bit of a loadout building thing. But, I mean, it's fine. It's fine, I guess. I just would have liked it as its own weapon. Monolithic suppressors coming back. Superior sound suppression, increased range. Moderate weight, increase affects agility, so aim down sight. The ideal attachment for extending your damage range on big maps like Verdansk while retaining the concealment provided by a suppressor. So long as guns don't have a lot of recoil, that will be the choice. Otherwise, people will still use like the vertical compensator or whatever it is. Or I guess it's the compensator that. Yeah, it's just the compensator. Default loadout options available. So, you know, when you don't build your own loadout, there's that, or you can move over to the default loadout section. That's all that is. And so default loadouts will be better, is what they're saying. They're going to have a Kilo default loadout. People that don't have multiplayer or don't want to level up. So we're going to kind of go through weapons, but just know the damage or the damage range on every single Black Ops 6 weapon has been touched. So we're not going to talk about everything. So we're going to talk about if there's other notes on it, and you can just see the damage and the damage ranges. And the damage was increased on like everything. So the AK had its damage and its damage buffed, range nerfed, headshot multiplier, lower torso multiplier, leg multipliers, and bullet velocity all increased. The aims had two of its damages buffed, one nerfed, all the damage ranges nerfed. Headshot multiplier, leg multiplier, and bullet velocity. Headshot multiplier and leg multipliers increased. Bullet velocity decreased. The AS Val had all of its damages buffed and damage ranges nerfed. And then had headshot multiplier increased, bullet velocity increased, aim down sight movement speed increased, and movement speed increased, but lower torso multiplier and leg multipliers decreased. And the CHF barrel vertical recoil penalty reduced. The Cypher had all of its damages buffed, all of its damage ranges nerfed, and lower torso and leg multipliers decreased. The GPR had all of its damages buffed, damage ranges nerfed, with headshot multiplier increased, lower torso multiplier decreased, and reduced visual recoil. The Krig C had its close range damage buffed and all of its damage is nerfed. And its headshot multiplier, upper torso and arm multipliers, and bullet velocity all increased. The Model L had its close range damage buffed, its close range and its long range nerfed, and a medium damage range 1 added. Headshot multiplier increased, lower torso multiplier and leg multipliers decreased. XM4 had its close and mid range damage buffed, and all of its damage ranges nerfed. Headshot multiplier increased, lower torso and bullet velocity decreased. 100 round mag is 80, 3 round burst fire delay reduced, and the Goblin aim down sight speed improved. So they're making the super strong Goblin even better. Submachine guns, C9 had all of its damages buffed and its damage ranges nerfed. Headshot multiplier increased, lower leg and lower torso and leg modifiers decreased. The Jackal had all of its damages buffed, its close and medium range 1 ranges buffed, medium range 2 removed, and minimum damage range nerfed. But the Jackal did get a buff. Additional adjustments: headshot multiplier increased, a lower torso and leg multipliers decreased, increased recoil strength and deviation. The vertical foregrip horizontal recoil improvement and the Ranger foregrip horizontal recoil improvements were both reduced. The Compact 92 had all of its damages buffed, its close damage range buffed, and then its medium and minimum damage range nerfed. It also had its upper torso and lower torso and leg multipliers decreased, and its 3 round burst reduced visual kick strength and deviation and reduced gun kick strength. The KSV had its close and mid range damages buffed, and all of its damage ranges nerfed, and the medium damage range 2 was removed. The PP919 had all of its damages buffed, all of its damage ranges nerfed, and the medium damage range 2 was removed. The headshot multiplier increased, the lower torso multiplier decreased, and the leg multiplier increased. The PPSH had its close range and its long range damage increased, all of its damage ranges nerfed, medium damage range 2 removed. The SAUG had all of its damages and damage ranges buffed, but headshot multiplier increased and leg multipliers decreased. The Tonto had all of its damages buffed, all of its damage ranges nerfed. Additional headshot multiplier increased, as well as lower torso multiplier, lower arm multiplier decreased. And on the binary trigger, headshot damage scaling increased, vertical recoil improvement increased, horizontal recoil improvement increased. For shotguns, damage ranges for all the guns, all of their, all right, not all of them. ASG 89 and Maelstrom had their first 2 damage ranges buffed, and the reduced view kick strength nerfed or lessened, reduced, whatever, so buffed, I guess. And the Maelstrom slugs had reduced screen shake while firing, and the CHF barrel vertical and horizontal recoil penalties reduced. The Marine SP had all of its damage ranges buffed. On to LMGs. The Fang, FRNG, is the typo of the patch notes. There's always at least one. The Fang had its close range damage and far range damage buffed, as well as both of those damage ranges, and a medium damage range was added. Headshot multiplier, leg multiplier, and bullet velocity all increased. It needs a recoil adjustment, and then it would be really, really good. GPMG, the close range damage and far range damage were buffed, but the close range damage range was nerfed while the far range was buffed. And then it also added a medium damage range. Headshot multiplier increased, and so is bullet velocity. Lower torso and leg multipliers decreased. The PU-21 had all of its damages increased, but its close range damage buffed, and its medium and minimum damage range nerfed. Headshot multiplier was decreased, but upper torso, lower torso, leg multipliers, and bullet velocity all increased. The XMG had in its close range, it had damage buffed, range nerfed, medium damage range added, and in its far range, it had damage nerf, range buffed. Headshot multiplier, lower torso and leg multipliers, and bullet velocity all increased. Marksman rifles, we're not going to talk about. I was going to. We're going to skip most of these, except the SWAT, because it's getting the Growl kit. Had both of its damages buffed, as well as both of its damage ranges. Headshot multiplier and lower torso multipliers increased. I forgot the TR2 was even added. And then the Car 98, lower torso and upper arm multipliers increased, leg multipliers increased. We're going to skip pistols, launchers, and specials. The Siren got similar changes that the SMGs did. Classic Feel of Vehicles is returning. They're making them handle better. They're changing the health. We need the hitbox is good. Pinging near vehicles made improvements to the accuracy of pings to loot near a vehicle to avoid the ping snap to vehicles. We're getting the old Warzone victory screen, which is nice. The attack map has a circular cursor from the classic Call of Duty Warzone experience. Nice. All map icons are spiritually faithful to the color palette from Verdansk with some improvements to help identify certain items at a glance. Ping visuals, ping shape has been reverted to the old shape. Go-to pings have classic visuals, improving legibility. Score feed colors are now yellow. Special score events are highlighted in white. New weapon inspect shows attachments, so you can make fun of people's loadouts after you kill them and they have bad loadouts. The death recap is now more detailed to show how you were seen on the map, whether it's unsuppressed weapon, live ping, UAV, or advanced UAV. A really, really good change as we continue to try to deal with cheaters and the anti-cheat can't keep up. Favoriting loadout now actually puts it at the top. Mission items and squad widget shows the most recent squad members' most recent mission items, so key cards, Easter egg items, etc. Death skull icon size has been increased on the map to help you locate where you died. Navigation pings updated to provide clearer, more intuitive iconography. Player icons, minimap and tac map player icons have been enhanced to visually differentiate between talking, firing a weapon, staying quiet, ghost perk on and off. Leaving match confirmation. Players attempting to leave a match while a teammate is still alive will now receive a confirmation prompt to prevent accidental exits. Ping distance text on map. Adding dark backing to pings on map. Improve readability. Ping duration setting. Quality of life. So now you can change how long pings are actually on your screen, which is good. And pick a duration between 1 and 20 seconds. Attack map centering. New map assist. New setting, map assist provides a few different options. Auto zoom and center upon opening the map. It will auto zoom and auto center on the player each time. Auto center upon opening the map. It will auto center on the player each time. That's probably the setting I'll have. Zoom and center once upon opening the map. It will auto zoom and auto center on the player one time per match. Center once, same thing, just not zoom. And then off, it'll just show the last location on the map. Definitely I'm gonna have auto center on. Audio, we're returning to classic audio with the infill, gulag, and exfil cinematics. The music, which I always have on volume 0 anyways. The announcer re-recorded by original announcer Julian Stone, so Captain Price. Hit marker sounds, armor and armor breaks, death's door, that's when your screen like gets red and pulsy. Footstep recordings, loot chests, buy stations, contracts, UI sounds, ping, splashes, and progression. So adjustments to audio. Occlusion and reverb transition from older raycasted occlusion system to Microsoft Triton Acoustics audio middleware, providing realistic audio occlusion, obstruction, and reverberation. So if this works out well, it's part of it's one of the good things about the Microsoft acquisition. Improved sound behavior around corners and surfaces, custom tuned data specifically customized for Call of Duty Warzone. Sound modifiers adopted new procedural audio technology developed by Treyarch that dynamically adjusts sound based on gameplay elements, entity speed, angle, and elevation. Entity speed and angle, good. If we actually get elevation in our audio and we can actually get some 3D audio and not just like left, right, front, and back, if we can actually get height now and we actually have footsteps present, Warzone, that is one of the biggest complaints in Warzone for all of Warzone. We have not had good elevation audio ever. And if we have it now, that is huge. Footsteps and ladders, unique tuning for Call of Duty Warzone footsteps separate from premium titles. Friendly teammates' footsteps reduced when positioned behind the player. Footsteps loudness dynamically scales with entity speed. Footstep pitch changes based on player's elevation. So good. Ladder sounds amplified and adjusted based on player movement speed. Boosted audio cues for jumping, landing, and distinctive ceiling footsteps to clearly indicates players running overhead. Cloth and gear mantling sounds now distinctly tuned for Warzone. Increased clarity and volume of mantling and melee sounds differentiating friendly and enemy movements. Enhanced mantling audio to resemble footsteps for greater situational awareness. Loot supply boxes, audio pitch now dynamically adjusts based on vertical elevation, providing clear vertical positional feedback. And that is it. Everything else, I don't think, I went through these bugs earlier. Don't think there's anything really worth worrying about. But yep, that is the patch notes. That is a lot. That is a long patch notes, and we technically did not talk about everything. Like I said, I'll link all the other Season 3 Verdansk information down below, as well as any videos I made on it. Twitch, if you want to hang out live, I'll be live from like when the update drops till sometime in the night. That will be My Twitch is linked down below, as well as my other social medias and my single player channels if you want to check any of those out. But if you watch especially if you watched all the way through, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you like to see this type of content first, and comment down below what you think of Verdansk Season 3, anything Warzone related. And I still can't believe I'm saying this, but I will see you on Verdansk. Get frying. Have a good day.